All right, next chapter, chapter 7, thinking from beyond local mind. What is the local mind and why do we want to think beyond?
People who buy the book often think that this is a book about how to manifest mind to matter, thoughts to things. How do you do that? My live course is called Turning Thoughts to Things. And so people say, well, I want my soulmate. I want to live in Santa Barbara. I want to have that job with Amazon. I want, they want all these things, and they're looking for ways to manipulate the world energetically and magically to get them. And that's not what this is all about. That's thinking from local mind. That's staying stuck in your local reality. But most of us do that. We wake up in the morning, we have this thought about the same thing we thought about yesterday. We see our bodies the same way, our jobs the same way, our partners the same way, our children, our parents, our whole world. We are literally recreating the world using our consciousness the same way every day. And what I urge people to do is unstick themselves from that process, to release themselves from this feverish attachment to their local reality and merge, blend with that same force that keeps 4 million starlings flowing in an effortless dance of connection in that flock. That tells the humpback whales how to migrate from the equator to the pole every year. All of these processes are happening in nature. I challenge people, I say, do you think you're exempt? They're happening for you too. Why not tune into them? And so we teach people, we train people to manifest not out of their conditioning, out of this limited human self that they are. Sure, you can manifest the red Ferrari if you want to, but will it make you happy? Probably won't. Instead, tune into non-local mind. Be one with that universal consciousness, and then have your dreams come from there. Have your desires come from there. Desire what non-local mind has for you. And that is infinitely more elevated, infinitely more precious, infinitely more full of love and kindness and beauty and sweetness than anything your little local mind over here can dream up. So that's where the book ends, with this call to that. And the afterword of the book, after that 7th chapter, I say, imagine a world in which we're doing this in large numbers. My goal, Rena, this might seem like a totally sky-high ambition. My goal is that 1 billion people wake up in this way. And everything I do is motivated to that. I do the science because it helps convince people to make these changes in their lives. What happens when even 100,000 people begin living this way? And I talk about the Renaissance, how the Renaissance didn't take 200 years. The Renaissance took about 25 years, involved about 1,000 people in 5 cities in Italy.
Yeah.
And after those 1,000 people and the 25 years in that very limited geographical area, suddenly law changed, architecture changed, art changed, education changed, music changed, philosophy changed, education changed, everything changed radically in 25 years. Now we're in the middle of one of those huge evolutionary leaps in consciousness. And so what, in the afterword of the book, I say, what will the world look like when everyone has access to this and many people are there on a daily basis? It's worth conjuring with that vision.
And it would be an absolutely beautiful planet and a beautiful universe to live in. There's something called the Maharishi effect, of course, which was proven that if you got enough people to think a certain way, you could raise the stock market and prevent accidents. And I think you're taking that same experiment on a 1 billion people scale and saying, what could we do could we create utopia? And it's absolutely something worth fighting for. And I'm with you. I will do whatever needs to be done to help you get your message out so we can get to that billion number that you'd like to reach. I think and for those of you who are listening in or watching, what can you do? Let's all join and do this together. Let's create a far more beautiful, happier, joyful, love-filled world. And it can be done like that, as Tony Robbins says. I actually went to his Unleash the Power Within, and he says, like that. It doesn't take time. It doesn't take forever. You just have to make a decision, and that's step 1. So any parting advice for those who are listening or watching? What is the one thing you wish everybody would do starting now?
Love yourself. Just love yourself. When I work with people in my live workshops, because I teach Thoughts to Things workshops, I teach EFT workshops, I teach professional workshops, I train a ton of therapists and doctors and nurses and medical professionals every year as well. And they typically, I'll have someone up front of the room and I'll work with them while the rest of the room is working on their own issues. So I'll be working with somebody up front and they'll tell me their story. And Rena, one of the things that just hurts me, I feel so bad about, is people's self-talk inside their heads. They are so full of unhealthy self-talk, unhealthy messages toward themselves. And so they describe their problems to me. And I just think that they're suffering so much. And their suffering really moves me. And so the big message is just love yourself however you are. Whatever gender you are, whatever your financial situation, whatever your body is like, whatever your level of sickness and health, let go of the struggle between those parts of your psyche that are telling you you have to improve. With EFT, we don't use it as for self-improvement. We just use it for self-acceptance, because self-improvement begins with self-acceptance. People are beating up on themselves and trying to force themselves and saying, you need to lose weight, you need to quit smoking, you need to modify your diet, you need to go and look for a better job, you need to change, you need to shape up, you need to transform this part of your life that's not working. And we're hard on ourselves that way. And we have a lot of negative self-talk. And with EFT, we just tell people to breathe and just love yourself. Love yourself. You are trying your hardest and your best, and you have been for your whole life. Love yourself, accept yourself. So that's really what we teach people, is forget self-improvement, just go for the self-acceptance, because when you do that, you're no longer having that struggle within, and that liberates all of that power for self-improvement. So paradoxically, you give up self-improvement, do self-acceptance, and the self-improvement happens as a byproduct. So my main message is, just live and love every day. Live outrageously, love extravagantly. That's my motto.
I love it.
That's what it made for me. Someone said to me, if you had to say 4 words on a billboard to the whole world, what would they be? And that was those 4 words. It was live exuberantly, love extravagantly. And why not just live from that standpoint of love and compassion and joy? Why not be like a child playing every day? So
yes, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much again from the bottom of my heart for spreading your message, for sharing your brilliant insights and your stories. And for the rest of you, love yourself. And if you're having a hard time figuring out why you can't love yourself, but there's a ton of resources available. We're going to be putting some links in the show notes, of course. You can access the book. There'll be a link to purchase this book, as well as a lot of the other great books that Dawson has written. And with that said, stay smiling, as I always say, love yourself, and I'll see you on another podcast.